Hello, and in this video we're going to be looking at the key stages of strategy formulation and implementation, and specifically how the role of HR fits into all of this. So starting with the definition, Johnson and Scholes 1993 defined strategy as the direction and scope of an organisation over the longer term, and it's from these organisational wide strategies that human resources strategies should be aligned. Armstrong again 2006 highlights a fundamental requirement in developing HR strategies that it should be aligned to the business strategy and it should fit the organisational culture. So what we've got there from those definitions is key terms in terms of alignment, which we'll discuss later, and strategy as well, which the Armstrong one specifically touches on. It's keen to notice when talking about strategy, it may seem complex and it may seem quite daunting in your studies at first, and when you boil it down, it's a real simple term. Fundamentally, it's about asking three questions of the business: where are we now? Where do we want to be? And how are we going to get there? That, in a nutshell, is strategy. And like the definitions have suggested, this needs to be in direct alignment with the company-wide strategy and culture. So in this video, I'm going to talk through an example of a business I worked in, their strategy, their culture, and how their recruitment and people policies all fed into that. So it was all in direct alignment. So hopefully that will give you an example in practice of how this all works. And later in the video, I'm going to be looking at a strategic review as well, and doing a 5-step analysis on how we develop those strategies. So that's all contained in here if you need that for your studies. So going back, culture is one of those. It's often a pitfall of the implementation of strategies for organisations who you can invest a lot of time and money in developing what is perceived to be a brilliant new strategy. However, if this doesn't fit the culture of the organisation, it will not deliver the required results. A quote that's always stuck with me from a conference I went to, and it was put perfectly by a lady called Nikki Mess, who's delivering that session. And she stated that culture eats strategy for breakfast, and I thought it was absolutely bang on in what she was saying with that. So if we look towards alignment, what do we mean by alignment? To give you an example of a previous business I worked for, they had a very simple strategy in that they wanted market domination across the area that they operate in. Therefore, it's important that then the people strategy and the culture fits that overall goal. So what this meant for the business is that pretty much all new sales staff hires across the business were experienced people recruited from competitors. This was because they had market knowledge. They could bring with them a customer base, a client base, and this would mean that they would hit the ground running, develop sales a lot more quickly, and it would feed the overall strategy. This wouldn't work if the business went down the route of kind of growing their own salespeople and bringing on apprentices or trainee staff and investing time to work with them and develop up. You couldn't have an aggressive strategy like market domination and then go about it in that way. It was very much right, we need to identify who the best people are in this marketplace, and then what can we do to attract them to our business and keep them here to generate the revenue for us. So hopefully that will help you to see how the recruitment and people strategy fed that overall strategy. But also looking at culture, the office was very sales driven, strict KPIs focusing on outputs, consultant growth, regular performance management, catch-ups, things like that. So that all fed into it. So there you've got strategy, recruitment, performance management, retention, all in alignment with that overall strategy. So the next stage would be to look at a strategic review and say, right, well, how did we get to that strategy, and what is the role of HR in doing that? So again, focusing on the business that I worked in, I used a 5-step approach to strategy formulation, which is a popular model. I use that in my assignments. It's probably something you'll come across as well. The 5 stages for this, very simply: analysis, formulation, evaluation, implementation, and control. And I specifically looked at the role of the HR team, their input into each stage of these strategies. So if we look at analysis, here this meant conducting both an internal and an external review through SWOT analysis and PESTLES, to understand in depth what those two environments were like. Also further research like competitor analysis, salary benchmarking. Are we paying enough? What's our commission structure like in comparison to our competitors? What are our holidays like? What are our working hours like? In the hope that we could develop the best overall package to help attract those people from our competitors. So that was that big input in that was from the HR team. So formulation, what can we do to implement specifically to enable us to recruit and retain those right people? This might be something like, for example, a flexible working home from policy. If for example we've not got one yet, and nobody within the marketplace in our competitors are doing something like that, so that could be something that we identify as something that we can bring people on board and give us that competitive advantage. So let's say we've chosen that tactic. So the evaluation stage, we need to make sure we've got the right systems and the right people in place to implement a flexible working policy. Do we need to put a business case forward to the senior management team to explain the benefits of allowing home working, with the pros and cons of that? Do we need to conduct risk assessments? This is all input that HR will have into that policy. And then implementation, making sure we have the right policies and the systems are robust enough to manage and move people to flexible working. Ensuring that we've got the right IT infrastructure that can support this, doing a resources analysis. Do we have the right laptops, headsets, phone systems? All of this needs ironing out to be able to ensure that we can migrate those people into something more flexible to allow them to work from home. And control, the last stage, conduct staff surveys to see if morale has improved since the move to more flexible working policies. Is this a key reason for us being able to recruit new members of staff, and closely monitoring staff turnover rates? Have these improved or got worse since we had that move? And liaising with management teams to see if employees are still hitting or exceeding the KPIs. Can we effectively monitor those KPIs with them working from home? So there we have the full 5 stages. You may also want to talk about a review stage to bring it back into a full loop, and maybe putting a 6-month, 12-month review there of that strategy to see if it has worked. But basically that's everything that I was asked to do in my assignment when talking about strategy, implementation, and the role of HR. So hopefully that has given you some good examples there, and I hope this helps with your studies. And as always, please do feel free to comment, like, subscribe to the channel. I've got more videos coming soon. So yeah, hopefully that helps. Thank you. Bye bye.